Imagine this. You decide that this year is going to be different. You want to learn a new language, start a business, get in shape, maybe learn video editing, coding, public speaking, or even become the best version of yourself. So you watch dozens of videos, buy courses, read books, make a perfect plan. And then, 3 weeks later, you're right back where you started. No progress, no results, no mastery. Why? Because most people spend their entire lives trying to learn things without ever learning how to learn. Think about it. You've spent thousands of hours in school. You've memorized formulas, taken exams, written essays. But has anyone ever sat you down and taught you the actual skill that controls every other skill? The skill of learning itself? Probably not. And that's a huge problem. Because whether you want to make $1 million, build a successful YouTube channel, become an amazing athlete, learn a language, or completely transform your life, every goal depends on one thing: your ability to learn faster than the average person. And here's the crazy part. The people you admire the most aren't necessarily smarter than you. They're not born with some secret superpower. They simply understand a few learning principles that most people never discover. Principles that allow them to improve faster, make progress quicker, and master skills that seem impossible to everyone else. Today, I'm going to show you those principles. By the end of this video, you'll understand why most people stay stuck for years, and how you can start mastering almost anything faster than 99% of people. So if you're ready to unlock the ultimate skill, the skill that makes every other skill easier, let's begin. The first principle is so powerful that once you understand it, you'll never learn the same way again. It's called the 80-20 rule. And it states that roughly 80% of your results come from only 20% of your effort. At first, this sounds impossible. How can such a small amount of work create such a large amount of results? But once you start looking around, you'll see this pattern everywhere. Imagine you're learning English. Most people think they need to memorize thousands and thousands of words before they can speak fluently. But the truth? A surprisingly small number of words are used in everyday conversations. Master those first, and suddenly you can understand and communicate far more than expected. The same thing happens in fitness. You don't need 500 different exercises. A few fundamental movements produce most of your results. The same thing happens in business. The same thing happens in sports. The same thing happens in YouTube. A small number of actions usually create the majority of success. Yet most people do the exact opposite. They spend their time obsessing over advanced techniques while ignoring the basics. It's like trying to build the roof of a house before building the foundation. And then they wonder why everything collapses. If you want to master anything faster, ask yourself one question. What are the few skills that create most of the results? Find those. Obsess over those. Master those first. Everything else can wait. Now let's talk about something that sounds completely backwards. If you want to learn faster, you need to fail more, not less. More. I know that sounds crazy. Nobody likes failing. It feels uncomfortable, embarrassing, frustrating. But failure is where learning actually happens. Think about riding a bicycle. Did you learn because someone explained balance? No. You learned because you nearly crashed 50 times. Every mistake taught your brain something new. Failure wasn't slowing down your progress. Failure was your progress. The fastest learners in the world understand this. They don't avoid mistakes. They actively seek them. Because every mistake contains information. Every mistake reveals a weakness. Every weakness points toward improvement. The problem is that most people are terrified of looking bad. So instead of practicing, they prepare forever. Instead of taking action, they wait until they're ready. But ready never comes. Mastery comes from action. Action creates mistakes. Mistakes create feedback. Feedback creates improvement. And improvement creates mastery. So stop asking, what if I fail? Start asking, how quickly can I learn from this? Now here's one of the biggest mistakes students make. They read something, read it again, highlight it, read it again, then wonder why they forget everything. The problem is simple. Reading feels productive, but remembering is what matters. So instead of constantly putting information into your brain, start pulling information out. This technique is called active recall, and it works like magic. Let's say you're studying history. Close the book, then ask yourself, what happened during this event? Now explain it out loud. Pretend you're teaching someone. You will quickly discover something interesting. There will be gaps, things you forgot, things you don't understand. And that's exactly what you want, because now you know what needs work. Fill those gaps. Test yourself again. Repeat. This process feels harder, but harder learning creates stronger memory. The more your brain struggles to retrieve information, the stronger that information becomes. Now let's talk about a lesson that changed my life. Sometimes the fastest way to improve is to slow down. Imagine trying to learn 10 different skills at once. Coding, fitness, business, languages, music, public speaking, investing, content creation. What happens? You become average at everything, master of nothing. But imagine focusing intensely on one thing, just one, every day, 4 months. Now you're making real progress. Most people massively underestimate the power of focused attention. Your brain learns best when it can fully concentrate on a single challenge, not 20. 1. The people who master skills quickly aren't always working harder. They're simply working with greater focus. So if you're trying to master something right now, stop asking what else you should add. Ask what you can eliminate. Finally, we arrive at the most important principle of all, your mindset. Because none of these techniques matter if you secretly believe you're incapable of success. The greatest learners all share one belief. They believe they can improve, not because they're special, not because they're naturally talented, because they understand a simple truth. Skills are built, not born. Think about it. You learn how to walk, talk, read, write. You weren't born knowing any of those things. You learn them. So why should this new skill be any different? A growth mindset means understanding that your current ability is not your final ability. You can improve, you can adapt, you can learn. And when you truly believe that, everything changes. Because every challenge becomes an opportunity. Every failure becomes feedback. Every setback becomes a lesson. And once you master the skill of learning, you can master almost anything. The question is, what are you going to master next?